All right, so in this case, the court remanded back, but the court didn't necessarily say, I'm remanding back and you have to pay benefits.
Right, they just said we're remanding it back, and with these instructions, look at this, look at the Social Security determination, don't rely on these independent physicians, make another evaluation.
Okay. I came across another group case, which I'll just touch on briefly, which was a lot of these policies we see, there's a 2-year limitation for mental nervous conditions such as anxiety and depression. And in this case, this was an accountant who had a policy and was on claim for anxiety disorder following some bypass surgery that he had, as well as elevated blood pressure, dizziness, and chest pain he was experiencing. Well, MetLife paid him for 2 years, and then at the 2-year mark, they said, we're denying your claim because you have a mental nervous condition. Well, he had presented evidence to say, no, I have a heart condition that's causing me to have secondary problems with anxiety. And I also recently had a procedure where I underwent an angioplasty and a stent surgery, just right near the conclusion of the 2-year period. And MetLife said, no, we think you're disabled by anxiety, and that they didn't even consider the heart procedures that he had. Well, the case went up to the court in the District of Arizona, and the court said, no, this is a physical condition, the heart condition, and MetLife, you failed to look at it. We're remanding the case back for you to make a determination accordingly and consider this a physical condition and make a determination now as to whether or not the person's disabled. So we just spoke about some group policies, but we've also, especially in our firm, on a nationwide basis, handled a ton of individual disability policies against MetLife, which those are the policies that are not governed by ERISA, and those are the policies that can result in a jury trial and far more extensive litigation than per se an ERISA case. And I can tell you from my personal experience that MetLife is very aggressive across the country in defending cases that they deny. Most of the individual disability cases that we've seen involve physicians and business professionals, and we've handled a lot of cases for chiropractors and surgeons and pediatricians and OBGYNs, attorneys, accountants, and many other professions. And the difference with the group claims are handled out of Kentucky, whereas the individual disability claims are handled out of Tampa. And what we found, especially with the individual disability claims out of Tampa, is that MetLife has their I want to call them their consultants, who are physicians that they regularly work with, who are not direct employees of MetLife, but they basically only do work for MetLife. For example, they'll have an accountant who they have a contract, they'll have an orthopedic doctor they have a contract with, they'll have a chiropractor they have a contract with, they'll have an internist, they'll have a neurologist, etc., of these doctors that they continually go to review files, and they pay them, $150 to $200 per hour to review files. They also have their own financial accountants who they consult with to determine the earnings of a particular claimant. They have vocational consultants that they work with to evaluate the ability of a claimant to do other types of work. So when you're going up against these MetLife in particular, and really all of these disability carriers, you also have to be prepared to have treating physicians who know how to deal with the insurance company. You have to have a vocational consultant expert who knows how to deal with the disability insurance company. You have to have an accountant or a financial expert who can evaluate your finances and also evaluate your production reports if you have that kind of thing, because MetLife especially has all of these things. I mean, we talked about before $41 billion a year and $833 million in profits in the first quarter. They know exactly what to do in order to provide the proper evidence to fight your claim. So from our experience of working with MetLife, we've assisted numerous clients with the application process, and we have had great success in getting numerous clients approved for claim. If MetLife doesn't initially approve your claim, we find that they can be a very difficult company to deal with. Specifically, if we ask them, for example, to send us copies of an interview that you may have given to the carrier, they don't want to send it to us. If we ask them for video surveillance, they don't want to send that to us. In litigation, when we litigate with them and we ask them to send copies of the claim file, they'll battle you to give you that. When we ask them for copies of medical reports or copies of vocational reports, they will battle you through courts to the point where you have to go for subpoenas in order to get the information. So not every single defense attorney for MetLife acts that way, but it tends to be more of the norm that you're going to have to battle with them in order to get every piece of information that you want. And the token example of that would be last year, the case of MetLife v. Glenn in the U.S. Supreme Court, where basically MetLife was the leading company to say, we don't think there's any conflict of interest, that we're the administrator of a claim and the payor of a claim. So MetLife's at the forefront of disability insurance claims. They know how to pay claims, and they certainly know how to deny claims. So if there's any assistance that you need with a MetLife claim, or you have any comments or questions about your experiences with MetLife, please call us at any time to discuss those issues. We do this show on a weekly basis, and we discuss all kinds of issues around the country related to long-term disability insurance, and we welcome the opportunity to speak with you and listen to what you have to say. Thank you for watching Disability Insurance Law TV.